Hello there dear YouTubers, my name is King1993 and today I'm gonna talk about another Genshin Impact character, and she is called Xinyan, who is also recognized as the guitarist in Lue and also a pyro main DPS and a sub DPS character. So without further ado, let's get started and see what type of weapon set and artifact set is the best type of set for her. So let's start. Okay, first of all, let's talk about Xinyans Birthday. When is Xinyans Birthday and why is it important? Because on every Genshin Impact character's birthday, instead of you giving a gift to them, they are gonna give a gift to you. So Xinyans Birthday is basically on October 16 or 16 of October every year. So as long as this game exists, basically you are gonna get a reward or a gift from this Xinyan character every 16 of October. Okay, now let's talk about why Xinyan is considered both a main DPS and a sub DPS character. First of all, what is considered a main DPS character? A main DPS character elemental skill or either elemental burst basically made in such a way that it will only benefit them and no other characters, and such can be said about this elemental burst such as Rift Revolution. This revolution basically causes a bit of physical attack and a most amount of pyro attack on the enemy. Now what is the maximum amount of damage? The maximum amount of damage done by this Rift Revolution is currently at the moment is 366, but it can go a lot higher. It can reach about 500, I think, if you were to maximize it to its full potential, and it has a duration of 2 seconds. So this is a very good indication of what type of character she is. In this category she is considered as a DPS character. Now how is she considered as a sub DPS character as well? Now in order for a sub DPS character to be considered as a sub DPS character, they must need to have the ability to support the main DPS character, and this is where these elemental skill come in. This elemental skill basically creates a shield, and this shield has a large quantity of defense. This shield level 3 absorption, what thing this is I do not know, because I do not use her properly. I just have her, but I didn't upgrade her to her full potential yet. But all I can say that if you have high defense, then what will happen is this shield which gonna be created by this elemental skill is gonna last up to a duration of 12 seconds, and it has a cooldown of 18 seconds. Basically speaking, if you want to stop any type of attack interrupting your main DPS character, then this sweeping fervor is gonna basically protect your character from any other attacks to stop the interrupt and let your main DPS character to do the maximum amount of damage to the enemy. So this is a great indication of why Xinyan is considered a both sub DPS and a main DPS character, because both are what should I say, elemental burst and elemental skill are built in that way. Okay, now let's talk about the constellation. Now truth to be told, if you did not read her constellation, then you are gonna fall in a huge problem, because after me reading her constellation I realized that she is more of a Noel type of character if you were to use her in that manner. Okay, so first of all let's talk about constellation 1. In constellation 1, the critical hit will increase the attack speed, and charge attack and normal attack will also increase by 12% for 5 seconds. So the normal attack and charge attack will increase by 5% whenever there is a critical hit. at Constellation 2, Reef Revolution or the elemental burst that is gonna cause 100% critical damage rate. Okay, 100% critical rate in the physical damage. Okay, and will form a shield at shield level 3. Okay, so basically speaking, if this one is activated, then the elemental burst is gonna create a shield, and not only that, it will also increase the physical damage rate by 100%, physical critical damage rate by 100%. So that is a lot when you consider to any other character. At her second constellation, she is basically a main DPS at that moment. Okay, now let's talk about this Constellation 4. In Constellation 4, Sweeping Fervor or the elemental skill that is, it's gonna decrease opponent's physical resistance by 15%, and at Constellation 6, decrease the stamina consumption of Xinyan charge attack by 30%. Xinyan charge attack gains an attack bonus equals to 50% of her defense. Now, after reading all of this description, you can now properly understand that even though she is a pyro user, but her damage output is mostly physical damage. So if you did not read this and you just gave her the fire artifact set, then it's not gonna work on her. Okay, so I highly suggest that you give her some some artifact which will increase her physical damage rate. Okay, now let's talk about what is the best artifact set for her. Now, as you probably saw that she is more of a physical DPS character and not a pyro DPS character, giving her a physical DPS artifact set is gonna be far better than giving her a pyro DPS set. So first of all, let's talk about the DPS one. What is the best artifact set for a DPS Xinyan? Now, truth to be told, whenever you use a character, you wanna use a character both her normal charge and elemental burst and elemental skill as well. So in that regard, if you just make her into a burst DPS, obviously it is not gonna be that much useful. Rather, if you were to give her a piece where it increases her physical damage rate continuously, then I highly suggest that instead of giving Noblesse Oblige or Blasted Chivalry, both of these two pieces, I suggest that you give her 2 pieces of Blasted Chivalry and 2 pieces of the Spell Flame, which will increase her attack damage percentage with a maximum of 50%. Now, in case if you are wondering, then why not give her Spell Flame the 4 pieces? Now, to be told, Xinyans has a very long cooldown. Now let's see what is the maximum cooldown. Okay, here it is. Her maximum skill cooldown is 18 seconds. So obviously it is not possible for you to fully activate these 4 pieces. It is not possible, which is why do not give her the Spell Flame 4 pieces, rather give her these 2 pieces, because as you can probably see here, then when an elemental skill hits an opponent, attack is increased by 9% for 7 seconds. This thing can only be possible for characters such as Eula, who has a cooldown of 4 seconds. So as a result, you can use her elemental skill 2 times in a matter of 7 seconds. So obviously this gonna be at 100% when you use it on characters such as Eula, but not on Xinyan. Okay, now this is for the physical Xinyan. Now let's talk about that. This is for the DPS Xinyan. Now let's talk about for the sub DPS Xinyan. Now if you want to use Xinyan as a sub DPS character, then mostly you are gonna be using her for her shield. Okay, now if you want to use her for her shield, then I suggest that you give her this retracting bolide set, because whenever her elemental skill is activated, this shield is gonna produce 35% more shield strength. And not only that, rather when you were to give her these 4 pieces, then whatever her attack percentage is gonna increase to 40% more of normal and charge attack. So based on that, giving her this retracting bolide is actually good for her. Now in case if you are wondering, then what is the best main stats for this, the main stats for this artifact set is defense, because as you can probably see here in the talent, that basically her defense, the more her defense is, the more stronger the shield is gonna be. And this shield level 1 to 3 basically indicates that whenever she hits an opponent, let's say up to 3 times, then the more stronger the shield will become. But the shield can become even more stronger the more defense she has. As you can probably see, the defense is gonna be getting more stronger the more talent level is upgraded, which I didn't do because I don't use this character. So in that regards, I suggest that you give her defense in the retracting bolide. And when it comes to the pale flame, okay, when it comes to this pale flame and this bloodstained chivalry for the main DPS Xinyan, that is, then I highly suggest that you give her this attack percentage, physical damage bonus and critical damage for the physical DPS, and for the sub DPS give her defense, so that her shield stays stronger for a longer period of time. Okay, now we are finally at the weapon part of this video, where I'm gonna talk about what is the best quality of weapon for her. Now before saying what is the best weapon for her, first of all do understand that there are 2 important type of weapons in this gameplay. One is a 4-star weapon, second one is called a 5-star weapon. But even in the 4-star weapon, there are 2 types. One is a grindable, or you can basically make it just by having a billet. Another one is not grindable. Basically speaking, you do not have any chance of getting them unless you make the wishes, and even if you make the wishes, you do not know what type of weapon you get. So in the free farmable categories weapon, what is the best weapon for her? Now the best weapon for her is actually this prototype archaic. Now before saying okay why, I did some research, okay, and the research what I did was not from this website, because this website doesn't actually show how good each weapon is. Rather, I went to this Genshin Impact wiki page, and once I went to this Genshin Impact wiki page, I eventually found out that this prototype archaic, that is at refinement level 5, it has a AoE damage of 480, but this can happen only once every 15 seconds. So the question is, okay, then what is the maximum amount of damage output even without this? The maximum amount of damage output is about 1100. So with prototype archaic, the amount of damage you are gonna get is about 1100, which is still gonna be as same as this Black Cliff Slasher, okay, because Black Cliff Slasher, even though it has a high damage output, this damage output can only happen if you defeat an enemy. So Black Cliff Slasher is not a good option. Rather, if you do give her this prototype archaic, not only it will do 1100 damage every second, rather once every 15 seconds it will also do a maximum of 480% damage, which will increase total damage output of 1 second at 432 damage once every 15 seconds, that is. So obviously prototype archaic is actually better. Now in case if you are wondering what about white blind, truth to be told, white blind was made for Noel, so giving anyone this white blind is a waste of time. And what about this another new weapon, this, where is it, okay, this Katsuragiri Nakamasa. Now truth to be told, the problem with this one is it has overall low damage output, so obviously I'm not gonna recommend this to you. I highly suggest that you give her this prototype archive if you do not have any other good weapon options. So this is for this 4-star weapon. Now what about the 5-star weapon? Now for the 5-star weapon, I highly suggest that you give her this Skyward Pride. Now in case if you are wondering, okay, to what type of damage dealing she would be, a sub DPS or a main DPS? As a main DPS character, giving her the Skyward Pride is actually the best option, because the Skyward Pride has a maximum of 1860 damage output, and this damage output is gonna be a lot when compared to this prototype archive. So obviously the best weapon, 5-star weapon for her is this Skyward Pride. But if you want to use Xinyan as a sub DPS character, then as I've said that you might be wanting to use her as a shield user, and if you want to use her as a shield user, then I highly suggest that you give her the Unforged. Now why this Unforged? Because when a shield character uses this item, the shield will increase to another 40%. So if you have 35% of shield strengthening from the retracting bullet set, another 40% of shield increase from this the Unforged, so you will get a maximum of 75% of increased shield. Okay, not only that, scoring hits on an opponent increases attack by 8% for 8 seconds, and it can be maxed up to 5 times. So if you were to give this weapon to Xinyan, and if Xinyan were to use it on the enemy up to 5 times, then within a matter of 4 to 5 seconds, the maximum damage output is gonna get about 40%. Okay, and not only that, if Xinyan were to be being protected by a shield, okay, so let's say you use her elemental skill and then use this weapon on other enemies, then what will happen is the maximum damage of this weapon is gonna be get to 100%. So what is the maximum amount of damage that is gonna be possible from this weapon? So I did the calculation and eventually found out that the Unforged will have a maximum of 1517 damage per second if you were to think about 1 hit per second, then this is the maximum amount of damage it can do. So if you want to use her as a, if you want to use Xinyan as a sub DPS character, then giving her the Unforged is actually the best option for her, because it will increase her shield strength up to 75%, which is a lot. Okay, so this is the best weapon categories for Xinyan. Okay, so what is the overall conclusion? The overall conclusion is Xinyan is both a sub DPS and a main DPS character, and for a sub DPS character, giving her the Unforged and the retracting bullet set on defense is the best option for her for a sub DPS, because it will increase her shield damage output. And if you want to use her as a main DPS character, then giving her this Skyward Pride and 2 pieces of Pale Flame and Bloodsteel Chivalry is the best option. Okay, and by reading this talent and by this constellation, you can probably guess how she is considered as a physical DPS character and not a pyro DPS character. Okay, so these are my overall conclusion on what type of Xinyan character this is. Okay, and in case if you are wondering why do I not use her, I do not use her because overall her tier list is actually very low, and truth to be told, when you get to the top part of the game, when the games become very hard, having a low tier character is actually very difficult for you to actually play the game and win against the boss. So I do not use her in that for that reason, because in case of the tier list, she is actually not on the top, rather she is on the B category. Yep, she is on the B category, which is why I do not use her. So that is my total conclusion of this video. If you like this video, then please give a like, subscribe and click the bell notification icons. Otherwise YouTube will not recommend this type of video to any other people. And if you like this video, then please tell me if I can add some more information, or if there are some or any mistake if I did in this video, then please let me know so that I can improve this video's quality even better. Okay, so anyway, thank you and see you again next time.